Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everyone feeling today? That's good to hear on a very early Sunday morning. And especially that you are here at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning shows your love for the poetry. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you for coming. And of course, your presence truly honors the celebration of poetry today. It is my pleasure to welcome you all for the women's poetry reading, themed Women Unbound, organized as a part of 10th edition of Poetry Festival Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Vani Khare. I am a scientist by profession, but my artistic endeavors keep bringing me to arts and poetry. It's with great honor and the privilege that I stand by you today as a host of Women's Poetry Reading, even more so because we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of Poetry Festival. So before we start talking about or start today's event, I just want to take a little beat and talk to you all that when I say the word unbound, quickly from your chair, can you tell me what comes to your mind? Anyone? Freedom. Anything else? Change. What else? Wow, colors. Amazing. Freedom, colors, change. Really, ladies and gentlemen, I really believe that there are some of us who have been gifted with the craft and the freedom of the word and the bravery to speak them. And then those of us bear the responsibility of lending these voices where there's silence. It is our duty to utilize our talent to reshape the narratives and ignite the change. Somebody just said freedom and change and colors. Today, our talented poets are going to grace the stage with their tender yet very powerful expression, casting away the outdated and senile boundaries of limits and go unbound. Together, we celebrate the voices of women poets, uniting to inspire transformation through their art. And at the same time, I request our lovely audience to keep encouraging them with your applauses, hoots, and cheers. Let's make sure that they feel full force of our appreciation. I can feel that too, by the way. Thank you. And it's time to invite our next poet. Our first poet is Grace Chia. Grace writes poetry and prose and has authored about 10 books and 3 poetry collections, 3 novels and a short story collection. In her free time, she likes to swim, run, bake, and watch cat videos. Because of the cat videos, Grace, I think we have a lot to catch up on coffee. Welcome, Grace.
Hi. Okay, I'm going to read this poem, but can you hear me? Oh, that one. No? No? Yeah. Okay. I literally just came back last night from 2 weeks of solo travel in Japan, so I'm very, very psyched. I did a pilgrimage. The countryside of Japan. And I did meet other solo female travelers. So it's very, very appropriate to the theme, Women Unbound. I do encourage some women, just do solo travel once in a while in your lifetime, at least once, and you will see how your mind just broadens and it just invigorates you. So this poem that I'm going to read is called A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Child. It's paying reference to James Joyce's book, Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. And this is in response to a drawing that a crayon drawing that my daughter did when she was very young. As you know, children, they draw things that are from their imagination. And it's not realistic. It's actually quite absurd, but very, very fantastical and imaginative. And from this, I came up with this poem. The butterfly outgrew the child in the drawing my daughter did. A caterpillar frozen in motion, long, turd green, pink lips, curled limbs, his turn next to bare wings. A daisy of carmine salutes a bandy tree, brown barked with lime leaves. ochre sacs of round fruits, pregnant with spindly secrets the tough bush can't hear. Its twigs daubed red with a brush too big to fit its shape, while a citrus sun peeks from the edge of the paper at right angles, 7 sticks of rays proclaiming summer. In this, I catch my daughter's proxy, a wild head in with 2 seeds for eyes, moon mouth, hair in a top knot of burnished terracotta, purple tunic and twiggy thighs. She is small-sized amidst the giants, the bonsai palm, the lemon star, leaping without shadow above the mustard ground, azure colored in for both air and sky. I see she has crayoned in the heaven around her, clouds a hair's breadth away, the artist herself afloat in blue. This is the world my daughter creates. No lines separate her will from the real. No one has taught her how not to draw or where horizons end and start, what is allowable in dreams or how her eyes should learn the gaps between spectrums. The young are colorblind. All children see rainbows no matter rain, shine, snow, or storm in every pale wing, broken or torn. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Can you please stay there for a while? It clearly was a yearning of a woman or a child wanting to live unbound without seeking permission or knowing what's allowed and not. They're the boundaries. Yes. I exactly wanted to know that what went into the process of creating this piece.
The painting itself, because when they are so young, they are not taught the right method to draw. When you go to school, you learn the right ways to draw, the techniques, and it actually shackles your imagination. It tells you that these are the things that's allowed and these are not allowed. So at a young age, when children are imagining stuff, everything is possible. There is no limits. And therefore, as an adult, I get inspired by children. I really, really do get inspired by children, by their curiosity and their imagination to be able to see the world as totally equal and totally just limitless. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Grace. Big round of applause for Grace. Next up is Lavanya V. Raghavan, a journalist. She loves to write in Tamil language and she loves Tamil culture. Growing up listening to Bharatiyar and Veluva's poem, as a child, she played with books and dreamed of writing. Welcome, Lavanya.
Good morning, everybody. So, as she said, I'm Lavanya, a budding journalist, and this is the first poem that I'm reading in front of such a huge crowd. Okay, so first about women. To me, I always believe that the women are told to dream beyond the sky, to fly like a butterfly, horizon is your destination and all that. But we're bound by very silly limits. Right? We are not given a chance to work hard and prove ourselves in the reality, but we are always encouraged to dream beyond the sky. But to me, I want to dream about reality, live in reality, and succeed in reality. So my poem talks about my dream and the dream of all the women, especially the women from the Tamil community. So let me read the poem in Tamil first and give you the summary later in English. Kanakandeen Thorinan. மனமென்னும் சடங்கதுவே முடிவென்னும் மனம் மாற்றி கனவென்னும் பெருங்கடலில் மலைப்பின்றி திளைத்திடவே கனாக்கண்டேன் தோழினான். நாணமும் அச்சமும் பூணும் அந்த பெண்மனதில் ஞானமும் ஆற்றலும் ஊற்றெடுத்து பொங்கிடவே கனாக்கண்டேன் தோழினான். மாண்புயர் மக்களை பெற்றிடல் மாத்திரமே மாதரவர் பணி என்னும் மடமையை கொடுமையை தீயிலிட்டு பொசுக்கிடவே கனாக்கண்டேன் தோழினான். கால்களே தாரைப்பொறி காற்றென்னும் எதிர்விசையை காதுகளாம் இறக்கைகளே கிழித்தெறிந்து கடந்ததுவாய் கணாக்கண்டேன் தோழி நான். வான் கடந்து பறந்ததுமே காண்பதெல்லாம் பெண்ணுடைமை, வாழையடி வாழையாக வாய்ப்புகள் வாய்க்காது வாழ்ந்து வந்த பெண்கூட்டம், பெண்ணடி கடந்ததுவாய் கணாக்கண்டேன் தோழி நான். குரமகள் இளவை நீ குமரி குளம் நடுவே குமிழி ஞாழல் கூற்றையெல்லாம் உரைத்தனல் போலும், ஞாழலுரையை ஞான உரையாய் குமரிகள் குறிப்பெடுக்கும் கல்வி முறை இருந்ததுவாய் கணாக்கண்டேன் தோழி நான். ஈன பிறவிக்கு அஞ்சியும் துஞ்சியுமே மானமதை மடியில் தாங்கும் வானுதல் விரலியவள், மேதினியில் மறைந்திடவே கணாக்கண்டேன் தோழி நான். நுட்பங்கள் தேரவும் மூடரை சாடவும் ஆடவரையொத்த ஒரு சட்டம் அது கண்டிடவும் கணாக்கண்டேன் தோழி நான். தேமதுர தமிழோசை மங்கையவள் குணமதுவாம், காமனவன் கண்குறித்த சிந்தனையை நிந்தித்து குமரியவள் மேம்படவே கணாக்கண்டேன் தோழி நான். மூத்த குடி சொன்ன மூடக்கதை அதனை உடைத்தும் தகர்த்துமே சாத்திரங்கள் கற்று மாட்சிமை பெற்றிடவே கணாக்கண்டேன் தோழி நான். கலப்பை கையிலேந்தி சிலரும் கழனி காலன் சிலரும் வாழ்வீச்சு பயின்றிட்டும் வெளிச்சமெல்லாம் பொழிந்திடவே பின்புத்தி கடந்ததுவாய் கணாக்கண்டேன் தோழி நான். அவ்வுலகே இவ்வுலகாய் மாறுமந்த நொடி அதனை முன்கூட்டி பார்த்து வந்த கதை கூறும் காரிகையே, கணா காணும் வலுவிழந்து ஆண்டுகள் கடந்ததுவாய் கடந்ததும் நடந்ததுவாய் கதை சொல்வேன் தோழி நான். Okay, so for those of you who did not understand the poem, okay, thank you so much. For those who did not understand the poem basically talks about the strength and power of a woman. It talks about how women face challenges in life, like marriage, motherhood, and social expectations, but they overcome them and find their own voice. The poem also says the women's stories and experiences are important and should be recognized. It's a celebration of women's ability to rise above difficulties and succeed. Thank you. Sorry? Oh, okay, it's Kana Kanden Tori Nan. It's actually a famous phrase from something called Bhakti Ilakyam, the literature that celebrated the humanhood and the divinehood and the connection between them. So it's actually a poem, a line comes from the poem where a woman dreams of marrying the god and living a wholesome life, nurturing the children, giving wisdom to the children and bringing up the whole to a divine level. So the phrase exactly translates to, I dreamt of it, my friend.
Oh. Thank you, Lavanya. And I was about to say after this that you guys can interact with poets as well and probably ask one question. We'll keep it short though, because we are also going to mind the time. But thank you, Amber, for starting it. All right. So next up, celebrating the spirit of Unbound, we have two poets from Indian Women Association, IWA. With great pleasure, I would now like to introduce Indian Women Association to our lovely audience. IWA endeavors to bring Indian community together by providing platform for members to connect, support, and network with one another while living in Singapore. Through IWA, our members, their members, participate in social, cultural, educational, and philanthropic activities. They also support young scholars at SMU and SUTD, work very closely with HOME, TWC2, Beyond Social Service, and SAMI Home. They also work closely with Indian High Commission and MCCY and the PA, and are always looking for meaningful collaboration to integrate and promote harmony. Like I always say, if there's no seat at the table, build the whole goddamn table. So thank you, IWA, for your efforts. Next up, we have very talented poet, Ruchi Agrawal. Ruchi has a bachelor's degree in engineering and graduate diploma in business administration. She enjoys writing poems and reads self-development books. She's a passionate storyteller and has been volunteering for National Library Board for children's storytelling session. She aspires to be a voice artist. Wait a minute. She's an engineer. She's a poet. She's a mom who wants to become a voice artist. Doesn't that tell that even our dreams are unbound and human potential doesn't have the expiry date? So one big round of applause for all of us and all of our dreams. So now I welcome Ruchi, the IWA member and the part of IWA Writing Enthusiast Club. Welcome, Ruchi.
Good morning, everyone. Namaste, vanakkam, ni hao, kencho. Maza macho. I'm sure everyone is having a wonderful time here and enjoying this event since past 2 days. And myself, I'm Ruchi Agarwal. I'm a new poet, and I've recently, discovered this passion for writing. I'm the member of Indian Women Association Writing Enthusiast Club. I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you so much, IWA, for giving me this wonderful opportunity this year to be the part of this prestigious event and to be here performing at Poetry Festival of Singapore. So, as we all know that the topic is Unbound, and our friend Grace, she wonderfully said that, as a child, we don't think too much. We already feel unbound, right? And what Lavanya said, the power of women to be unbound and to be able to do everything. So, when I was thinking, what should I write about this topic? I thought, it's all about thoughts. So being a woman, nobody else, but I think it's us, it's our mind which plays tricks. It tells us, okay, you can do this, you cannot do this. But sometimes we have to say, oh, shut up, keep quiet, and we have to tell ourselves that we are unbound and we can do whatever we want. So from that was the thing from where I got this inspiration, and I named this poem as Unbound Life. I really enjoyed writing it, and I'm sure you will love hearing it. So here I start. Unbound life, isn't it a mind game? Can you all hear me? Okay, let's begin. We are born, we live, grow old and die. We are born, we live, grow old and die. Journey to discover ourselves, bound yet unbound life. Bound yet unbound life. Isn't it a mind game? We can't deny. Amidst boundaries, it's hard to feel alive. Precious life, as you know, intended to explore and grow. With unfulfilled wishes, how could we thrive? With unfulfilled wishes, how could we thrive? Unbound life feels like a birthright. Freedom empowers us to flourish. Courage gives the strength to survive. Victory amuses us, and success brings delight. In the rat race to win the fight for unbound desires when we lose in sight. What about the consequences? Who cares if it's wrong or right? With the heart as the guide and the mind we tame, unbound actions, fears, and hope for fame. Reach out for stars or become insane. Isn't it a mind game? Feelings and emotions are truly unbound, exposed by eyes, whether we look happy or sound. Immense pain disguised as smile, immense pain disguised as smile. Look deeper, an aching heart could be found. Look deeper, an aching heart could be found. Struggling, suffering, and challenging times, God the unbound comes to our mind, reveals his presence as a family, friend, or a guide. Strengthens hope in his enchanting voice. Thought can travel without a ticket with the speed of light whenever it wishes. See, it's all about mind. Thought can travel without a ticket. Love and attachments could be unbound. Acceptance brings joy. With rejections, we frown. We are born, we live, grow old, and die. Journey to discover ourselves. Bound yet unbound life. Bound yet unbound life. Isn't it a mind game? We can't deny. Shatter the shackles and embrace the truth. Love your life. We are born to live. Be kind, be wise, and live a purposeful life. Bound yet unbound life. Isn't it a mind game? Thank you so much. I wish you all an unbound life. Enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruchi. Any questions from the audience? about bound yet unbound life? All right, I think we are as liberated as our thoughts, and often the most difficult boundaries to break are the one that we create for ourselves. So maybe I can ask a question. So why, your poem is about paradoxes, right? Bound, unbound. So why do you see it as a mind game? Like we are all talking about unbound, and you bring a different perspective.
Yes, because when I started writing this poem, I thought, okay, it's the restriction of our mind, so it plays tricks with us. So if a mind says you can do it, you do. And if it says, no, you can't. So it's sometimes we are just restricted by our mind. So that's why, it's a mind
Thank
game.
you. Thank you. If your mind thinks, or if your brain thinks, your heart thinks you can do it, right here is a lesson, you can do it. Maybe you all can create poem too, and next time I'll see you here too.
Right. So
All right. Big round of applause to Ruchi. Right, ladies and gentlemen, time to introduce our next poet from IWA. It's Priya Aditya, who has almost 2 decades of fruitful corporate career. Priya has now donned different hats after her family has moved to Singapore. She's currently a globally certified life coach. She's trained as a vocalist in advanced classical music and can sing in multiple languages. She's a MOE approved volunteer and editor of Indian Women Association. Welcome.
Thank you, Ani, for that introduction. Thank you, IWA, for inviting me to be here. So this is an attempt at ABCDarian poetry. Rain. Awake at sunrise, the golden aureole barely bears the sweltering heat, crying silently for relief, drooping orchids, egrets roosting, finding relief in the gilam tree, hoping for heavenly showers. I am cooped inside, jittery, but wait. Koel cooing, symbolic. Look outside my picture window, monsoon. Nature bestows bounties again. Oh, the fragrance of petrichor. Quiet peacocks shriek, rumbling clouds, slivers of silver lightning, toads in cacophony, universe in blissful orchestra, vagrant sea eagle returns home, wings gliding, exquisite to behold. Yellow-beaked hornbill zestfully squeaks. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. Any questions for Priya? Priya, your poem is, for the want of really better word, elegant. It's pretty. And I know Alka also writes sometimes similar. I remember her Jasmine poem. So I want to know, how do you guys do this magic of bringing the people who are listening right inside your poem?
Vani, I love nature. I'm a nature enthusiast. And I'm blessed to be staying in, a beautiful green country, Singapore, especially the East Coast, where, I just look out the window and then I do have all these egrets roosting and all that.
Oh.
So, yeah, and with a lot of encouragement from our dear
Alka.
Alka and IWA in general. I'm encouraged to, think, and then it just comes out when she asks me to write, I just write.
Thank you. And I want to ask audience, do you guys know what is petrichor?
Petrichor, yeah.
Yes, the smell that comes once the first rain hits the ground when it has been very warm and dry. And I could smell that. Thank you so much. All right. Now I'm going to address my lovely audience and I'm going to ask a small question. Listen to me very carefully. This is going to take a guessing game. What is common between Nobel laureate Bob Dylan, Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore, and our next poet, Aslivia Kin? Yes, Grace. Sorry, Christine. Yeah, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Lyrical poetry. They all can write lyrical poetry that can be, we can sing it. So Aslivia is a school librarian who loves poetry reading, baking, and cooking. Her poems have been published in Translating Migration USA 2020 and Cordite Poetry Review Australia 2020. A House Made of White Clay Singapore 2021. She owns a YouTube channel, Musically Poetry, with her son, Alamin. In her spare time, she loves to play guitar and compose songs. Welcome, Aslivia.
Thank you, Vani. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Poetry Festival SG, for inviting me. This is the 6th year. Women Unbound. This poem is for those who struggle with mental health, especially women. I believe you can strive and stand to love yourself. I'm sorry, it's something wrong. I need to tune it first. So I think something untuned. Can I have my phone? Can I have my phone? Sorry, it's touching and then it's not tuned. My phone? Sorry, my phone. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, it's will be very quick. It's a technical issue. Jangan simpan mereka yang membuatmu tersorok. Jangan dengarkan sepatah kata. Tanya pada diri sendiri, apa yang membuatmu bahagia? Koyak norma, budaya, bias dan pengharapan, tak patut kau simpan semua beban. Bukan lembaga hitam yang berdiri di depan pintumu, tapi bayangmu sendiri, terpijak tak menentu. Sadar kita diciptakan untuk datang lalu pergi, datang untuk diuji dengan sedih dan bahagia, lalu pergi tinggalkan kenangan. Ataukah kau hanya akan jadi korban? Hidup tak selalu harus sempurna. Terkadang susah, terkadang ceria. Hanya dengannya kau dapat hidup pelangi hirup gemintang. Bertekad baja tak menyerah diri sendiri. Kasih sayang, cintai diri. Sampai nanti jiwa ini tak lagi berdiri. Ya takdir segirilah zona bersama. Bukan hari rilah inna amal judulama wajudul layani al amal judulama ya takdir segirilah unzurna wasama min kholkika hariri lalat tahtawi roja innal amal judunama wajudul layadi al amal judunama al amal judunama. Thank you very much.
Clearly, music and poetry has no language. Whichever language it is in, you can always enjoy listening to the melodies and the word. I'm not going to ask you any question. You have already done enough. Big round of applause if you enjoyed the music and the poem. Well, my dear friends, Poetry Festival 2024 has more programs today after our event, with additional events going on until 1st of August. Do check out the exciting lineup. Please visit our website www.pfs2024.ptix.com. So go to the PTix website. You can even put Poetry Festival and search. We appear there. And just register yourself. Now, the next poet that we have with us is Sonia Serenade. Serenade is also my favorite form of poem. Nobody has serenaded me yet though, if you get the joke. Sonia is from Indonesia and has been working in Singapore for almost 14 years. She's alumni of AIDA and volunteer at Migrant Writers of Singapore. Her writing has been published in an anthology book in English language and Bahasa Indonesia. Welcome, Sonia. Wow, loud cheers. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm Sonia, and today I wear red because I like bright color. And like our theme today is Unbound. So my title of the poem is I'm Not a Beggar. Because people mostly think that women, especially in the village, their living only depend on their husband. But actually, women can do more than what they can do. So, okay. I spread my wings unbound. Free from chains, my spirit sings, no limit, no boundaries, no walls. My heart soars high, my soul enthralls because I'm not a beggar. I dance in the rain unbound, feeling alive, no pain or strain. My feet bare, my soul's on fire. I toil and spin, my spirit aspire because I'm not a beggar. I write my own tale unbound, no scripts, no rules, no story unfail. My pen flows free, my words take flight, my voice is heard in the dark of night because I live my life unbound. I roam the open sea, no anchors, no shores, just me and the glee. I sail day and night, my eyes open wide. I look at the bright side, I'm not a beggar, I live my life unbound. I'm free to be me, myself, wild and carefree. No bounds, no chains, no fears to hold. My spirit soars, my soul unfold. I live my life unbound because I'm not a beggar. I run with the wind, my feet barefoot, my heart and mind free to roam, free to play in the sun to warm. I dance and sway, my life is free. I don't want to live my life like a beggar. I dream without fear, my imagination, my soul's clear. no limits to what I can achieve. My potential, my spirit's reprieve. I live my life unbound because I'm not a beggar. I love without condition. My heart's open wide. My soul's vision, no walls to hide, no fears to conceal. My love shines bright. My spirit refers. I do anything unbound because I'm not a beggar. I live without regret. My choice is mine, my path I've set. No chains to be, no weights to bear. My spirit's free, my soul's aware. I live my life unbound. I'm a warrior. I'm not a beggar. I fight for what is right, for myself, my family, and the world. I live my life unbound because I'm not a beggar.
Thank you. Sonia. No, Sonia is already sitting there. Anyway, it's always fun when you push the boundary and have the courage. There's a different fun about dancing in the rain. Have you ever felt that? Yeah? Thank you. Next up is Meenakshi Palaniappan. Meenakshi loves nature and reading. She enjoys playing with words, think, dream, and make sense of the world around her. Trees, animals, and her children are often the feature of her work. As an educator by profession, her poems have been published on online journals such as Tiger and the Moth Review, Short Glass Journal, Quarterly Literary Review, Singapore. Welcome, Meenakshi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Huge thanks to Poetry Festival for having me here. When they said the theme was Unbound and women, the first person I thought of was my grandmother. So I'm very, she's no longer here, but it gives me, I feel very honored to read a poem about this very inspirational lady in my life. So I'll begin. I start with a short dedication in Tamil and then a poem. Aya Valliyamai Aachikku Pethi Meena எழுதி கொள்வது. உங்களை எண்ணாத நாளில்லை, உங்களை எண்ணாத நாளில்லை. உங்கள் அன்புக்கு சமர்ப்பணம் இந்த சின்ன கவிதை. பிடிச்சிருக்குன்னா சொல்லுங்க. My grandmother is like this tree, spreading her branches out and upwards, supporting life, lending shade. She is sustenance. Forgive me. Today I feel them, Stop All the Clocks by Auden, Because I Could Not Stop for Death by Emily Dickinson. Life doesn't stop though, does it? I wish to be drenched in rain now, rain that is my grandmother's love. She was not a sensible grandmother, no. She was a fun-loving, life-embracing grandmother. She relished chocolate ice cream, pepper chicken, chili crab. She loved to travel and to shop. Her fried fish, so thin, so crisp, I can see it and yearn to taste it, though I've been vegetarian 10 years now. Her love extended like the rays of the sun. She would make podi for me, buy tatte for my son, order curry vadagam for my husband. She knew each of us and our favorites, her children's and their families, her grandchildren's and their families. The lines on her face, a map of her journey. As a child, pampered till the age of 15, her father sending her treasures from Singapore, earned from their properties along Market Street and in Burma. A shy bride at 16, full of hope for the future, married to a man ruled by his family and their unending greed for her wealth. A young mother at 18, tending to the extended family, taking raised fists, cruel barbs in stride, as she bore baby after baby, 9 in all. A fiercely independent woman, she left home at 40 with her children, fearing for her life, the safety of her kids, pawning her jewelry bit by bit to get by. Her love for her grandchildren and great-grandchildren was a diamond, pure, blinding. All of us turned to her to pray for us at every hour of need, from a fear of miscarriage to blessings for PSLE exams. She had a direct line to God, and we went through her, our telephone exchange with heaven. She would arrange for a donation to Jesus Calls, Tulabaram at Guruvayur Temple, break a coconut at Muppataman Temple, and we'd feel reassured. For what could go wrong when our dearest Aya had prayed for us? She was our anchor, and now we are adrift. Still, I remind myself, her blood runs in me, an unbroken thread from her mother to my daughter, 5 generations of first daughters. I see her face in my mothers and daughters. I feel her strength in every tree, her caress in the breeze. And I know I am so loved. Thank you. I'd like to just say that this poem, I'm dedicating it to my grandmother's eldest and sweetest daughter, my mother, her beloved Mapulai, my father, her dearest grandson-in-law, who's not here now, my husband, Saravanan, and her jewels, the great-grandchildren, Akshaya, Ashwin, and Aishwarya. Thank you.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Thank you, Meenakshi. As a scientist, I can tell you that we were in our grandmother's womb before we were even born. You could read about it. So that is how your grandmother was clearly the fulcrum of your entire family. And thank you so much for bringing her alive with us today. You felt that it's a privilege for us to be able to hear something about such a strong woman. And you also felt emotional. That got me remember that in 2017, when I first came to the Poetry Festival, I read about my father, who's no more, but he's with me. And I also got really emotional. And in 2018, Shilpa came and she read about her father and she also felt very emotional. I think this is your first reading, right, here?
Yeah, my first reading.
Yes.
Yes.
So welcome to the family. Meenakshi, thank you so much. So next up, we have Zihua Tan. Z, I call it with love. I call her with love, is an architect by profession and a keen explorer of life. She wanders around the places, archiving stories to convey what she has gained from the world through her spatial expression. She hopes that her work today will build internal wisdom in each of you. Welcome, Z.
Thank you, Vani. Today, this poetry I'm going to speak about is called Cracking Open at Night. It's one of the night vigil that I keep up with. When you are at night, you have lots of words in your mind, you got to let it out. So I will begin right now. Phantom pains on nights alone, that dull aches in my bones. A nagging sense of missed things. I flounder and wonder what links. The subtle anguish my body fights reveals on sleepless nights. For these dreams dwell so deep, only released when pressures heap. In these years, I have wandered through what winds came and blew. I had flown in fresh directions, yet remained jammed at junctions. This keeps me awake into the deepest nights, showers and thunders in the mind. I wonder what safe shelter I can seek, beyond binding myself to what's fine. For I long to return the innate gifts, a semblance of loves combined, a sweet family in one's own time, which latent memory shall I sift? Or am I facing an existential shift to have life lifted into a gift? A gaping heart in perpetual pump is insistent on living away from the dumps. I face pressure from a strange desire to bear one's own little being. Must this soul I have carefully grown require an offspring to sing? My time has slowed its dance. to swiveling past fate and chance. I hardly learned about the soreness I felt. For most longings, I have swiftly dealt. I have thus weathered one buried stress among the many I have gained. This nightly limbo is very prime for my subconscious to take its reign. So here's another stressful point that we may address in this season. Perhaps we can do a group release about work's hold on our time and fees. Have we grown enough to make a stand against exploitation, abolish domination? How do we derive joyful purpose from slaving if we are not cherished in the place we are in? I have a daily affair with excellence. It keeps me awake, alert, very neurotic. Fulfillment must be a construct we pursue, so seeking it is not at all in ease. This is despite not being a perfectionist. If so, I would have more paralysis. My standards are inherent and cultivated. Oh, imagine if I have all that space to give. I await the ones who value me, seeing beyond the efforts I take to be. The woman who stays wild and unbound, so her bright light can be tamed and found. Thank you.
So that line, right? This is becoming a grand form of therapy. I really loved it. I'm like, in my head, I was going relatable, relatable. And I become very excited when I'm having so much fun. I had a lot of fun. But how would I know that you guys had fun? All right, so Z, what went into writing this Ariana Grande sort of thank you next poem?
I wish I can make a song, but I can't.
We should.
Yeah. A therapy kind of treatment to this poetry. I think that's what I was seeking after. A therapy for myself. Perhaps through this, others can feel a sense of release as well. I think that's what we do for poetries. Thank you.
Thank you, Z. Sure, sure.
Bio. So Z, I say that, we wander places. So when you wander places, what goes in your mind? Like, what you feel excited about?
What kind of places I go to, is it?
Yeah.
Or
Like, no, not what kind of places you go to. When you go to any kind of place, what goes in your mind? Like, what do you seek for? What do you want to, Yes.
I see.
Right.
I would say when I walk into a space, if that space feels prime for people, and you can see generally people feel at ease with themselves, that would have been a successful place. So when I walk into a space, I try to see how the people use the space. If they look a sense of peace, it's hard to tell in the face, but there's a general energy to it as a whole. You'll be able to feel it. You don't feel out of place, you don't feel wrong. Yeah, so that's what I look for when I see a good space. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
We are talking about the travel. I remember our first poet, Grace, also said about solo travel. I have done a solo travel for 2 months to Cambodia and Vietnam, and I recommend it to everyone. You must do solo travels. Thank you, Z.
Thank you.
Well, now it's time to give a very important thanks to our sponsors and supporters. Because of their generous support, the poetry reading has been possible. We would like to thank National Art Council, the Art House, One World International School, and the book Kinokuniya for their unwavering support for making this festival reality. Big round of applause for our sponsors and supporters. And now we have come to the finale with a very power-packed, thought-provoking performance by Christine Chia. Christine wrote The Law of Second Marriage and Separation, A History. She co-edited groundbreaking singlet anthologies, A Luxury We Can't Afford, and the sequel, A Luxury We Can Afford. She appears in Washington Square Review, The Straits Times, The Wild Rise, and Another County. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you very much, Vani, and all the readers, and of course, Poetry Festival Singapore. Thank you for inviting me. And this poem is very short. It's only 10 lines. It was written for a previous anthology about animals. When Eric asked me for a poem that features a woman character, I immediately thought of this because this fills a gap in the biblical narrative. So the poem is called Noah's Daughter. And actually, in the Bible, there's no mention of his daughters at all. Yeah, it only mentions the sons. But of course, we knew from our poetry readers today that our grandmothers had many children. And the natural biological selection actually produces more daughters than sons. Yes. And more sons than daughters initially, but when the survival rate, it kind of evens out. Yeah, so I'm also very interested in science and biology and all these. So Noah's daughter. So I started imagining what would Noah's daughter say when they were on the ark, the famous ark that had two animals of each kind, male and female. And it's so strange, right? It's specified that the animals have to be one pair, male and female, and no mention of Noah's daughters at all. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give her a monologue. And this is a 10-line monologue from one of Noah's daughters. I'm going to read the 10 lines now. Noah's daughter, you never heard of me? No surprise. Daughters are the dirty secret of the patriarchy. I too was in the ark, slave with my sisters-in-law, shoveling shit. An elephant is a pooping machine. Now imagine 2 elephants. Multiply the steaming piles of shit by all the animals in the world. We tip shit over all day, all night, braving the wolf wind and storm waters to save ourselves from the suffocating stench. Now, what did the patriarch do? Or patriarchs do? They made wine, of course, and cheese. We, women, made the bread. Thank you.
Those were powerful line with powerful symbolism, Christine. Anybody has any question for Christine from the audience? I think you should.
Yeah. There's a question at the back.
Yes, please.
Hi. Yes. I've read a lot of Karen Ann Duffy's poems, yes. But she didn't write about Noah's daughters. Yeah. I have a very dramatic imagination, as you kind of figured out. I like to imagine alternatives, difference, what if, And I like to write to commission, so feel free to commission poems. Like I was commissioned to write this poem, and you want 10 lines, I'll give you 10 lines, that kind of stuff. Yeah. The best 10 lines I could come up with, yeah.
Powerful, like shattered the patriarchy right here. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you.
And on her poem, she was just mentioning about Noah's Ark and how Noah's daughter was not mentioned. I might get trolled for this because I'm going to publicly say it. But even in Ramayana, the Hindu god Ram, he had he had a sister. Ooh. And there's no mention of that sister in the whole Ramayana. Ooh. Yes, because we made the bread.
Yeah, we make the bread. Yes.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Congrats, Christine, and all other poets. You should be very, very proud of your work. And this is what I meant when I said earlier that those of us who are bestowed with the craft of the words must have the courage to bring them so that we can shift the narrative from regressive to progressive direction. I would like to conclude this morning with a quote from my favorite poet, Maya Angelou. Each time a woman stands for herself, without knowing it possibly, without even claiming it, she is standing up for all the women. So thank you, Grace, Christine, Ruchi, Priya, Lavanya, Sonia, Meenakshi, Z, and Aslivia for healing the world a little more with your verse. And to my lovely audience, I hope this morning has inspired you to rise together as men, women, or in fact, to any gender spectrum that you identify with, as the only way to become unbound is to hold a space for one another and rising together. And thank you for creating this space with your presence and energies that we were able to express our innermost feelings with our poem with such happiness. Without your support, this celebration of Unbound for womanhood wouldn't have been possible. So the big round of applause goes to you as well. And lastly, if you have a moment, can we have the QR code, please? All right, it's already there. There's a QR code flashing on the screen to fill in the short post-event survey. You may feel like, I don't want to do it, but this is really very important because it helps us to improve. And your feedback and support for PFS is deeply appreciated and help us to continue bringing poetry to you. And all right, with this, I conclude women's reading for this morning. Thank you very much for your presence and support. I will see you at the Poetry Festival next year. Have a great day, everyone.